Our next guest, Caroline Payson, the Executive Director from the Providence Children's Museum. Hello, how are you doing?
Good. Hi, Molly. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I really appreciate you coming in. You have been so busy at the Children's Museum.
We have, and we're going to get busier.
It's been kind of a whirlwind, and you are celebrating your 40th anniversary, so congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, this week is actually sort of the kickoff of anniversary events, and we celebrated the other day. It's such a whirlwind. It was actually just the day before yesterday with Tim Gunn, who came and spoke at our annual meeting about kids and the importance of sort of fostering creativity in kids. Before he spoke to the grown-ups, he did an incredible workshop with kids from the Highlander Charter School, 2nd and 3rd graders, who made clothing out of newspaper, and we had a little fashion show runway moment that ended
so cool.
with Tim, myself, and the principal of the school as the judges, and we were a little nicer than Michael Kors and Nina ever were.
That's so fantastic. So tell us a little bit about the relationship that you have with him and why you think it's so important to bring in these high-level names to really encourage creativity with children.
Mm-hmm. I think for us, we wouldn't bring in any high-level name, but we were looking at a good fit. And, when you're celebrating your anniversary, you want, what's really important for us is, we work in the community. We do lots of work with kids. But our work in after-school centers, we do work with Brown on brain development in children. We are out in every Head Start program in the city. So for us, we also need to make sure that you might be connected to us, even if you don't come and visit us with kids. There's lots of things for people to volunteer at or to participate in. So for us, bringing in someone like Tim, who may not have been as well known to the 2nd and 3rd graders as he was to their parents, it allowed us to sort of focus on creativity, but that night bring in an audience that we hope will continue to celebrate with us throughout the year. Our next event is actually on May 6th called Play On, and that has a lot of overlap. That's a night for grown-ups to come and play at the museum.
Which,
they
always want to do, right?
Exactly.
But they always are like, well, maybe I just need to leave it to the kids.
Exactly. So this way there's no danger of climbing over a kid to do anything, and we have food and drink, so it's the only time you can kind of walk around the museum and play with a glass of white wine and enjoy the evening. So that's on May 6th, and we'll follow up to invite your whole team, and everybody is welcome to come.
Oh, perfect. So that's May 6th. And is that a fundraiser for the museum?
There's an entry charge, but it's more of a fundraiser than a fundraiser.
Oh,
it's
like
really an opportunity for people to come and enjoy the museum. And again, I think see us as a place that's really there for the whole community although we love being a museum for kids to come and play, we also want to take the opportunity for other people to sort of see how we connect to the community.
I love that. A fundraiser. I like that idea. Let's talk a little bit about some of the activities that you have. Spring break is here pretty much. And you do such a good job providing activities, not only just within the museum, but putting on shows. I mean, I was looking at your Facebook page and you have 4-H there today.
We did.
You had animals there, all kinds of stuff going on. Talk to me a little bit about what you have coming up for spring break.
Sure. I actually left our farm friends today.
I know. Thank you so much. I dragged her away from that.
We had teacup pigs and bunnies and sheep. But spring break is always a great opportunity for us to have lots of visitors in, and we can kind of go into the yard as well. So we have the farm animals today. We have lots of animals. We have every day next week there's a program that will be free with admission. So Monday we have Amazing Animals. And Tuesday we have wings. We have actually Birds of Prey in Wing Masters, which is quite a dramatic event for the kids.
I'm a big bird nerd myself. I've just turned into this big bird lover, so that's amazing.
Be an event for you.
Yeah, that's so fun.
As in today, for both sets of folks who are coming with animals, the animals can be touched by the kids, and we want to encourage that kind of healthy risk of the kids maybe who might be a little frightened, but who push past that and play. We also have 2 days of a play called No Time to Waste, which is a sort of a fun play that kind of helps kids think about recycling and the environment. So that will be next Thursday and Friday.
Well, that's good too, as we move towards Earth Day, getting people thinking and realizing concepts, getting moved towards Earth Day.
Right, exactly. And just, for the kids to kind of see how they fit into that in a way that's appropriate for them. So for any of your viewers, you might want to just pop on our website and see where what interests you for the day.
Perfect. And really, when you're planning these events, how do you decide what's appropriate for which ages, and how do you decide this would be a good fit for these days? How do you go ahead and decide what's good for the museum?
Well, first of all, it's not always me. And I think one of the things that people maybe know or don't know about the museum is that we have a team of experts who work behind the scenes, and they work on everything from our exhibits to our programs. So, in fact, our exhibits team has 3 PhDs and has been doing work with Brown on brain development in kids. So the things that are out there on the floor are designed specifically to sort of entice kids and get different parts of their brains working and getting them excited about learning. Similarly, we have a really great education team. So, they talk together and decide what is appropriate. We don't bar the door. We know that families sometimes have kids from mixed age groups. So if a kid's coming in that might seem a little young but is with some older siblings or with parents who insist that they'll be okay, we will let them in and maybe just say, you might want to watch this or that. So the programs are designed, depending on the complexity. Something with lots of, where you're making something that requires a lot of fine motor skills might not be good for the not because it's bad for them, but because they might not enjoy it as much.
Yeah, it might be too challenging.
But and often the case like that, we'll generally have a staff member helping work the room, or it's a good opportunity to teach the parents how to play with them too.
Yeah, which sounds like it might not be too much of a challenge, but as we continue to go through more things, always good to have a parent there. Right. Always good to have them be encouraged to see and learn along with them.
Right, exactly. Someone pointed out all the little visitors to our museum need a ride, so they always get there with a parent or a caregiver. Sometimes
it's good to remember how to play yourself.
Exactly.
It's not always easy to be reminded. I'm curious, as you move forward, especially through spring break, some of the activities that I saw, just looking through some of the stuff that you have, looks so much fun. One of the programs I saw, like Mad Scientist. Is there any activity or plan that's just become so popular throughout the ages that you just love and you need to make sure you have back over and over again?
There are a lot of programs, because one of the things for us to remember is that although, the kids age out, so after a certain amount of time, so they don't tend to get bored with things. Yeah. But we also know that lots of kids love things that are familiar. So, one of the fun parts about working at the museum is, I've worked at other museums in the past, but I have never seen people run through the parking lot and run to the museum and run to the thing they want. So I think for us, although there are programs like Wing Masters, which has come back year after year, or Farm Friends, which is super popular, kids like to master that, Yeah. Estrella is, if you've been to the museum, the big lady that's in a chair with the headpiecers. There are families who actually come back once or twice a year and take their picture against her to sort of measure how much they've grown.
Oh, that's neat.
So yeah. I think those are the things that people kind of do. And, now that, we're not only are we 40 years old, but we're 20 years in Providence this year. And so we're now at the point where we're welcoming parents who came as children.
That's cool.
So one of the things, if people want to keep an eye on our Facebook page, is as we celebrate our anniversary, we're going to ask folks to send pictures of themselves when they were little at the museum and perhaps pose with their own children in the same spots.
That's neat. That's neat.
Should be fun.
Oh, I love those. Kind of like a throwback Thursday kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
What else do you have planned for the 40th anniversary?
We have a range of, and people should keep looking, some things behind the scenes, kind of connecting with some of our funders and people who've been around for a long time. But the real end of it is in October 13th when we have our big celebration at the Biltmore. Oh. So that we've decided to go fancier and to really have a big celebration and really acknowledge the community that has, connected to us for so long. And we're really looking forward to that. And then I think looking at that is an opportunity not just to reflect on the past, but to talk about the future and think about what it means to be a children's museum in the 21st century. How do we integrate technology in the most responsible way possible? How do we stay connected to the parents? How do we use, and technology doesn't mean, of course, we're going to give screens to little kids.
Yeah, here goes a phone, a tablet.
Yes, exactly, but it might be, how do we stay connected to parents? I would love it if the day after a parent and child came to the museum, they got a text the next day that said, your kid's brain did this yesterday, and to do more of it, do this. So we're thinking about ways that we can be prepared to do that starting as soon as possible. Excuse me.
Do you have Do you have a certain amount of technology there? Do you have, certain amount of screen time, or do you
We
find...
don't at the moment. We've actually kind of been known for being low tech, and that's something we've embraced, which is why I think that as we start thinking about incorporating technology, we don't want to lose that. Yeah. So I think when we do it, it will only be the places where it's most appropriate, and probably in ways that are very innovative. So where we can kind of be a model for integrating that kind of technology, rather than just embracing it and using it.
When you see kids come in and there aren't any screens, do they notice? Are they excited about it? Do they complain about it? Or are they...
They generally don't notice. They have something they want to do.
Yeah.
And I think for us, one of the things when we, if we have a no screen week, is less about the screens for the kids' interaction, but maybe encouraging parents to put their phones down and playing with the kids themselves. Yeah. And for us, if we integrate technology, it'll be used to enhance an experience rather than be the experience itself. So we're looking forward to thinking about what that might look like, and I think reaching out to the amazing creative folks at RISD, at Brown. Providence has so many creative people around, and so many graduates of those institutions who are doing real groundbreaking work in technology, and bringing them in and kind of doing some charrettes with us and thinking about what things might look like.
And kind of really seeing how you can incorporate that and move forward. I'm kind of wondering, just thinking about what you do and how you work and the age group that you work with, as you see kind of a decline in arts and creative programs within schools, do you think it's really up to the museums and other outside groups like community programs to really kind of fill in the gaps to plug in for schools?
I think it might be plugging in, but it also, given the age of a lot of our visitors, it might be prepping them. One of the things that excites me about working in a children's museum, this is the first time I've worked in one, is that I'm one of those people who believes I'm an access person when it comes to museums. Like, I feel like cultural institutions are there for the whole community to use. And being at a children's museum, I feel really strongly that we're that first step, so that those kids who come in and own our museum, who run to the thing they love, whether they can afford to get in or not, because a third of our visitors can't afford admission, and we're really proud that anyone with a SNAP card can come in for free. So regardless of financial background or preparedness, any kid who runs into that museum owns it. So for me, it's, and they can be part of the arts and crafts activities. They can, go on the climber, they can go to a STEM activity. So for me, the important thing is if they come in and they own that, then I want them to own the RISD Museum or the Fine Arts Museum in Boston when they go to it, and never think that a museum isn't for them.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, one of the ways we can kind of supplement what the schools are doing and kind of create a culture of access, so that everybody who loves our museum will interact with libraries and museums for the rest of their lives and own it, and not expect that there isn't a place for them.
Really being able to access. I like that, being able to access and having access to those programs as well, because that's being able to have access to that kind of activities where you might not be able to access that stuff in schools anymore.
Exactly.
And being able to provide, and through the community, so many different programs are happening that you might not see in schools anymore. Like you were saying when Tim Gunn was here.
Well, certainly nobody gets Tim Gunn doing a fashion activity in school.
Exactly. You're not seeing that kind of stuff. So to be able to have, whether it's a museum or outside resource groups that are providing these programs for after-school activities, really need to be able to have that kind of thing. So you are having on May 6th, you're having that, it's called
Play On.
Okay. Evening for adults at the museum. What else is coming up for you?
We have a program every day. So people should look on that list and see what they do. But again, I want to remind people next week we've got animals on Monday, and those wingmasters, those birds of prey.
And that's what I'm excited for. All right. Well, Caroline, thank you so much for joining us, the Executive Director of Providence.